Great. So we are live, and I see the audience trickling in already 30 plus. So this is super exciting. Those of you who have joined the session, and if you're able to hear me loud and clear, in the chat, let us know the city you're dialing in from. I believe the chat function is open for everyone. So if you're able to hear me, let us know the city and the country you're dialing in from. We would love to know where our audience is coming from today. I know there are a lot of registrants from India, but I'm expecting quite a few from the Middle East and Africa as well. So Samir, great to see you. Thank you for joining in. Samir is dialing in from India. Kashvi is coming in from Noida, India as well. Uh, Rohan from Bengaluru. So Kashvi, just a trivia in the meantime. So Arushi is based in Delhi as well. Uh, Rohan from Bengaluru, Rachel from Bangalore as well. I see someone coming from okay, this is going too fast now. So Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, quite a few people from Delhi. Okay, I thought Bollywood or Mumbai would be dominating this chat, but it seems Delhi and Bangalore are taking the lead over here. Keep those coming in. I'm just gonna wait for a second for everyone to join. This is an extremely exciting session, according to me. I personally am very curious to hear Veiko's talk and understand more about Hollywood and how the disruption is happening in the industry. But before we kickstart this session, please keep your responses coming in. Tell us know the city and the country you're dialing in from. I see Dinah from Ghana has joined in as well. I see Sakina from Madhya Pradesh, India. Great. I'm just going to wait for another few seconds. We are close to 150 people in the room now, but I just want everyone to settle in and then kickstart this session. I see Mary from Ghana. Thank you. Thank you for joining and welcome. Great. Over 150 people plus. Let us kickstart this session firstly with brief introductions. Let me start with my introduction. My name is Sanjay Dhingra. I'm one of the co-founders and the chief operating officer at Seed Global Education. I'm an ex-admissions officer. I've worked with top business schools, including the Indian School of Business and the Schulich School of Business, driving admissions and outreach for them across Asia, Middle East, and Africa. At Seed Global Education, if you haven't interacted with us previously, we currently work with some of the top B schools, top engineering schools, and also schools of international affairs, and now also the School of Film and Television at Loyola Marymount University, where we facilitate interactions for you with such top institutions. Our idea is that if you're looking to study abroad or if you're looking to pursue higher education, you should evaluate all possible options, evaluate the, of course, their offering, the programs, the faculty, but also funding options, application fee waivers, and so on and so forth. And we facilitate such interactions for you to happen. We run a scholarships fund, which is worth over $6 million plus. A lot of institutions, including Loyola Marymount University, have committed exclusive funds to that scholarship fund. We give out hundreds of scholarships every year. We facilitate events across India, multiple countries in Africa, in Middle East, and from next year in East Asia as well, giving you a chance to connect in person and online as well with such top institutions that we work with. Today's guests are very special. First, of course, let me introduce Professor Vaiko Lin. He is a faculty at Loyola Marymount University School of Film and Television. He's a writer, producer, and author whose work has often centered around Asian diaspora and global narratives. He earned his Bachelor of Arts in English Creative Writing and his Masters of Fine Arts in Film and Television, both from UCLA. In California, he's written, produced the Chinese romance film 100 Days. He's developed original series and biopics and authored Crazy Writing Secrets, How to Capture a Global Audience, the book that he's published. He, of course, teaches at Loyola Marymount University's School of Film and Television, which is consistently ranked amongst the top 5 US film schools currently by the Hollywood Reporter. I also have Arushi Madan, who's the regional head for Loyola Marymount University based in India. She's based in Delhi and, of course, travels extensively across India. So if you are looking to connect with Arushi, want to know more, watch out for communication from her and we'll get a chance to meet her. Before I hand over this session to Vaiko to tell us more about his interesting masterclass about the secret to succeeding in Hollywood, let me run our first poll for the evening, which would be live on your screen right now. My poll question for our audience today is to understand what is your main goal for attending this masterclass? Are you looking to understand more about career opportunities in the film industry? It could be in Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood, and any other word across the world, anything in the film or television industry. Are you looking to explore program options to study at Loyola Marymount University's School of Film and Television? Are you looking to get application tips or connect with the admissions team? So are you looking to connect with Arushi to understand more about their application fee waivers, special scholarships, program details, or so on and so forth? Or you're broadly looking to understand the scholarship opportunities for programs at LMU. So the last two, I think the last two options get similar. So you can choose either one. These are about programs or scholarships or connecting with Arushi. The first one is about career opportunities in the film industry. The second one is again about program options to study at LMU. All right. I'm going to keep this poll open for another few seconds. So if you haven't responded, please do so. I see 100 people have already responded. We have over 270 people in the audience right now. So great. Very excited to be hosting this session. I'm going to keep the poll for just a few more seconds. So if you haven't responded, please do respond to the poll. All right. With that, I'm going to end the poll and share the results. As expected, a lot of people are very curious, very excited to understand about the career opportunities in the film industry. So, Veko, very exciting, got a lot of pressure on you for this. I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of LinkedIn requests after this, asking for introductions with the directors, the producers, and the other affiliates in the film industry in Hollywood. But with that, over to you, Veko, for this session.
Great, thank you. And while we help pull up the presentation, I am so excited to be speaking with you all today. And especially with someone, I mean, I work in the international space. So meaning a lot of my work lately, the last few years, has been centered around Hollywood companies, financing local international productions, right? So as you know, Netflix, Amazon, they finance our local productions as they sell Korea, in Taiwan, in India, like all different areas. And what's really exciting is because they want the people who have the know-how of the kind of the global narrative storytelling structure. And that's what we teach at LMU, going through. And that is really the secret in collaborating with a local company. So I'm so excited. Again, my name is Wei-Ko Lin. Not only am I a professor of screenwriting here at LMU, I'm also the associate dean for the School of Film and Television. So in a way, part of my portfolio, I oversee all of our 4 graduate robust film and television program. And I've taught in a couple of them as well. So I know kind of hands-on directly what these programs are about. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm all about global storytelling. I was born in Taiwan. I immigrated to the United States when I was 8 years old. And I studied film and television. I never thought it would be possible for, a person of color, an immigrant, to work in Hollywood. And it does happen, going through. So, and then my pathway was through film school. And as I mentioned, I have taught I've been teaching for 20 years at universities here in the United States, from Northwestern University in Chicago to Emerson College in Boston, and as well as UCLA. And I must say, of all the 20 years of teaching, LMU is really, really special. It's one of the best schools I've ever been, I've interacted with, and I see that with a full heart. And one of our great, unique kind of secret sauce is we're not just about teaching how to do storytelling and film and television, all the stuff that, you can learn at all the different film schools, right? Just a craft or online. But what big part of what LMU does, we are about education of person as a whole, right? Is about you as a human, right? Is discovering your voice and discovering the things that you need to say in your stories. So with that, I'm going to kind of so today I thought I'd talk about what is it like studying, why it's advantageous to be at LMU from my kind of, 20 years of experience here. But if we go to the next slide, that'd be great. Thank you. So that's our title, Succeed in Hollywood. Here's my insider guide. Okay. In the next slide. Great. So I'll talk about alumni. For those of you, I'm not sure how big of a hit K-pop Demon Hunters in India, but globally, the most watched Netflix, ever, right? Movies or series is K-pop Demon Hunters. And that movie was co-written by LMU alums, by 2 of our LMU alums who had met at the film school and decided to be writing partners. And then after graduation, they were hired to write K-pop Demon Hunters, and the global success. And what's exciting, if you look at K-pop Demon Hunters, it's set in Korea, right? With universal humanity and voice. And that's what we do, right? That's what we do. It's from America, right? I mean, obviously Korean diaspora, but it's really, really phenomenal that it could reach this global scale. And another, on the production side of things, Sinners, the director of photography was Sinners. I'm not sure if that how well that did in India, but it was a stupendous theatrical box office hit, at least in North America. Next slide, please. And what addition to our great alums, we have phenomenal speakers. Just a few weeks ago in October, last month, we have a writer-director, Paul Thomas Anderson, who brought his movie, One Battle of Another, Oscar contender, and screened at LMU. And honestly, our LMU theater, and I think, Arusha, you've been to our theater, it's not that big. It's like maybe 100 some people. So it's not like a big auditorium where you're so distant from our filmmaker guests. It's about 100 seats, 120 seats. And it's such an intimate interaction that there's a real connect between the filmmaker and the aspirational and the inspirational. So we're so excited that, he visited such a top filmmaker like that visiting our school. Next slide, please. And so that was in October. And this, I'm about to share, this is from last year. So we're not taking old stuff from 10 years ago they visited. So I'm not sure if you heard the movie Wicked. Maybe some of you have Wicked, Joker, and Heretic. Maybe you don't know Heretics, about the Hugh Grant horror movie. But we had Todd Phillips, who's the writer-director of Joker, who also directed Hangover, come and speak at our school. Now, I must say, filmmaker guests, they go to different film schools, right? But I could lay down. So Todd Phillips was actually roommates at NYU with our graduate director of production here at LMU. They're roommates back in college. So he came in and did a whole conversation. And it was really basically about all the real personal things you don't get a typical panel, the insights of how they were when they're film students, where they were. And that's really exciting. And then the next thing is we had John Chu, director of Wicked, that brought Wicked, the first Wicked, to our school on the screen. And that relationship came from the recent former president of the Academy of the Oscars, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. She had a close relationship with John Chu, Janet Yan. So she's our distinguished professor here at LMU, who teaches masterclass in producing here on campus. And he brought John Chu in because they're good friends. And then I brought in, I'm not sure if you know, Scott Beck and Brian Woods. They created a Quiet Place franchise. I'm not sure if you heard of A Quiet Place, that whole franchise. They created it. And I brought them in and I moderated that panel because they're friends. And I also wrote a blurb in my book, because we share the same literary manager, basically a Hollywood manager. We bought the same manager, Anonymous Content. So they had introduced us, my managers, and then they came in and brought their movie Heretic, starring Hugh Grant, his first horror movie there. Next slide, please. And obviously, I'm not going to go through the alumni project. So the producer of all the James Bond franchise, Barbara Broccoli, who also donated our theater on campus. I'm not sure, or actually, if you saw our film school, the nice film school on the main campus. She donated that. We have the writers of John Wick 3 and 4 that are alums, Atlanta. Francis Lawrence, the director of 4 of the Hunger Games movies. And the most recent one that's in production. I think they've just wrapped. Francis Lawrence is an alum. He always brings the Hunger Games to our campus and talk to students. The producer who's the president of Reese Witherspoon's company, who produces a lot of her shows. The Morning Show is also an alum from us. The Bear, it goes on and on. So next slide, please. Great. So why LMU? Here's the insider secret. That's our beautiful campus, which I think both you had the pleasure of visiting. We're right near the LAX airport and we see the ocean. So that's our beautiful main campus, right? That embodies all of our different, we have School of Film and Television. We have, we had the School of Education, we're the business school. So that's the main campus, which is beautiful. Next slide, please. But if this kind of cool, not as the previous slide. So this is, here we go. This is basically our Playa Vista campus. And we moved in, I think maybe 5 years ago, 8 years ago. So we're in the same building. It's a 50,000 square facility. And that's purely for the graduate film school. So only graduate film school. We have this 50,000 square foot. That's in the same building complex as Facebook Meta and a lot of tech, the Honest Company. So we're actually in this high tech, it's called Silicon Beach, basically. But what's exciting is we're like, as a lot of tech companies are owning these kind of American Hollywood studios, we're in the same kind of creative space that they're in. So that's really exciting. So all the graduate film schools in Playa Vista. Great. And next one. So location, right? Where we are, we're literally 10 minutes drive. Okay. 10 minutes drive in LA. It's crazy. It takes hours to get anywhere. 10 minutes drive to Sony Pictures Entertainment. So that's how you parlay internships into job opportunities, because we're right there at the studio. There's a lot of face-to-face time opportunities. Our guest speakers, because no one likes to drive an hour to guest speak somewhere, right? But 10 minutes, they'll come 15 minutes, right? It's easy. So we get a lot of interaction, industry, Hollywood people from Sony Pictures Entertainment that comes through. Sony Animation, right? That did K-pop. They made K-pop Demon Hunter, which they, with Netflix, a distributor. Next. Culver Studios. So Culver Studios is basically also in Culver City, right next to Sony, but Amazon Studios. You guys heard of Amazon Studios? They've set foot right there as well. So you have Amazon Studios in Culver City. You have Sony Picture Entertainment in Culver City. Amazon being a global kind of streaming brand. And you have Sony, which is known to do a lot of international, which is so exciting for someone who's from the international aspect of it. So their studio's right there. Again, industry, location, 10 minutes away from LMU. Next slide, please. Also in Culver City, Apple Studios. We're all here, okay? If you talk about Hollywood, Hollywood's actually about 40 minutes from Culver City, this area, if you go up. So Apple Studios have also set foot their studio in Culver City. Again, 10 minutes away. Next. And Warner Brothers Discovery, also in Culver City. So all these kind of four main areas, right? Warner Brothers, HBO, Culver City. Thus, the interaction for job opportunities parlay strongly. And yes, international students, some tend to stay here and work, right? Typically here, but the opportunities are huge because they go, wow, you're fluent in another language, another country that we have a local presence there. The opportunity is huge because you could be working for an American studio in a Hollywood system, but yet bridging that local, that's one of the kind of career paths, or just be right in Hollywood and stay in Los Angeles. So the opportunities are boundless. Next. All right, so now it's a masterclass, right? So this is something that at least from the screenwriting program that I run, this is kind of the essence. I think we're talking about the secret sauce, right? I call it the creating the emotions you know. So everyone has heard of write what you know, right? Write what you know. But if you just write literally what you know, you probably have 3 movies or 2, depending how exciting your life is, but 2 or 3 movies or scripts or television series and you're done, right? But it's not really writing what you know, it's writing the emotions you know, right? Everything is hypothetical, everything is situational, but the emotion, if you're about to tap into the emotions, write the emotions that you know, that is your voice, is a unique storyteller, right? And I think that's really, really critical. So the next slide, please. Fear. I know we're getting right into it, right? From the gamification. So fear. This is my take, right? I feel like we are driven by fear. And through storytelling, that's how we overcome fear, okay? So lens of fear, that's kind of like it. So to me, it's a powerful way to tap into the emotional engine of your movie, okay? Because look, at the end of the day, you've seen movies before, right? It's like $200 million budget, big Hollywood blockbuster, but no one went to see it. It's like a fail, right? Have you seen those big special effects? Oftentimes they lack authentic emotions, right? And it's not easy to just parlay emotions, especially from Asia. I'm Asian. I grew up in Asia. I was born and raised in Asia. I know there's similar dynamics that we don't really put our emotions out in the forefront, right? And especially, I think, through movies, it's learning to kind of tap into those emotions. No one's going to know it's like your emotion because it's fictional characters. But if you can tap into authentic ways, and this is kind of ways, because fear is human, it's universally relatable, okay? And it's such immense satisfaction when we overcome fear, all right? And I'll share something personally about me. As a kid, I feared most of losing my mom, okay? I immigrated to America with my 3 older siblings and her not knowing a word of English. And she was our bedrock, her stability. And I would have flashes as a kid, waking up in tears, full of guilt. I wake up and just the knowledge that she died. And I cried and cried. And that's my nightmare. And I wake up. And I tell my mom, and she goes, "Oh," and she comforts me, saying like, "You want me to live a long time, that's why you're like that." And then 17, 18 years ago now, she passed away, like my nightmare coming true, going through. And I must say, I made as a professional writer without having tapping into my authentic emotions. And, I was a decent, writer. I was able to craft a script, I sold it and I was in Hollywood. But I don't think I really came into my own until having lost my mom and now really owning the fear and the presence, the emotion, the grief of it. And that carries, and that's kind of the emotional engine of all my work right now, right? I always deal with grief in some sort of hope, but it's always some of the fear that's Latin in. So fear is an emotional engine of your hero of the movie, of your protagonist, okay? Which is then in turn the story's engine. So next slide, please. Okay, I don't know if you've seen Taken, right? Liam Neeson, right? The movie, okay, right? For those of you seen Liam Neeson, he basically thought is kidnapped to a sex, a slavery kind of trafficking, human trafficking. The Taken, the entire movie, what's driven by? Is the fear of losing his daughter. How universal is that? Fear of losing his daughter. It's so simple, but so universal. He wasn't trying to save a second cousin, right? Your daughter, you do anything to say, and is that the father's worst nightmare or a mother's both worst nightmare is your child being stolen, your daughter being stolen sex trafficking, and you would do anything to do that. So it's driven by fear. Next slide, please. Little Miss Sunshine, I'm not sure if you heard this movie, right? It's a fear of failure. So if you've seen the movie, Greg Kinnear is kind of a motivational speaker, but is not very good motivational speaker, and is determined to take his little daughter to win this little pageantry right across country because he is such a failure that he felt like his daughter needs to win the pageant and be a winner in order to validate himself, right? And of course, you go through that journey. So that emotion carries that movie. Next slide, please. Parasite from Korea, right? Winner Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Oscars, total foreign language, right? You have to read the subtitles for this, for those of you seen it, right? The fear is the family separating, right? There's a Thai family who lived in poverty. They started be conning into their ways into this like rich family to work there, about these lies and deceit. But it was a way of, they were afraid that the family was going to split apart unless they're able to get out of this kind of financial ruin situation. But it's fear of family separating. Isn't that all we all fear? It doesn't matter what culture you are, you fear that, right? Next slide, please. Amadeus, I know it's an older movie for those of you who haven't seen it, but it's a great movie. It won an Oscar too for best. I'm going to show you the Oscar winning examples, right? So for those of you seeing it, basically Amadeus, the composer, and this guy named Salieri, right? So Salieri is basically this person who's so jealous of Amadeus. And basically Amadeus is, Mozart, who's so famous now, right? But it's about this guy who used to be a popular composer, but he was just kind of pop culture, kind of pop culture popularity during his time. But the whole thing is about, and he talks about directly in the line, he has a fear of mediocrity. He was so jealous of Mozart's genius, this fear of just being mediocre. And I think we all have that fear, right? In a typical class, I actually go around the room and I go, what is your fear? And people always share, I fear like I live this life and I haven't accomplished anything. I fear that I live this life and I don't have my purpose. Do you know what I mean? It's global. We don't talk about it, do we? Unless we're in a therapist group, right? But boy, audiences, they all tap into it. And I'm telling you, all the movies, the great movies, it's fear. I'm sorry, next slide. Crazy. Oh, before that, I actually had another slide I didn't get to put in. Have you seen last year's Oscar winner, Anora? Anyone? Was that a popular? Probably no, Anora, maybe not. Anyways, so it's kind of like, okay, all typical American Hollywood romance movies, the fear of not finding the one, your true love, right? I'm not sure romantic. I think love story is very rampant in Asia, right? I know at least in China, in Asia, like China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, it's all about love stories, right? About being with the one, the right one, of course, they always end tragically typically, but Hollywood movies, it's like a tragic obstacle, but it's always a satisfying ending. They always end up together, right? You know why? Because we fear that in throughout life, we never end up the one. Because so often we end up with someone that's not in our control. And I'm not sure how the culture, and specifically in India, I know in Asia, so many more elements, parental pressures to be with a good family and in a match and all that kind of stuff, social hierarchy. I mean, that's still very modern, very true. But in America, same thing. So often how do you see storylines where it's like the rich, wealthy person and the ones from, the working class, right? And it's like Titanic, right? Like the two socioeconomic class, the Notebook, socioeconomic class, so the fear of not ever, finding the one that you have a life, a partner that you truly love, right? Great. Next, so crazy. So you have the true emotions, right? But what makes it a movie? Why do we start a movie at a certain part of this character's life? You notice that, right? The character has a whole life. Why do you start that? So for me, it's always about the crazy, right? Okay. So meaning, I feel like, so I think the crazy situation is really, and I don't like to call it formula because I hate the word formula. It's not a formula, right? It's a kind of what we call it. It's not a formula. It's called structure. Okay. Structure. Now, you notice certain like movies from India, right? The domestic audience love the Indian movies, right? China too. China has a movie that made $1 billion, okay, in China, but it barely resonated with anyone outside of China. Is that weird? Oh my God, high budget, same budget as a Hollywood movie, made $1 billion in China, but yet no one outside of China resonated with. And you know what the thing is? It's about the global narrative structure, because the entire world, we're familiar. Now, I'm talking about Hollywood movies, but for the 100 years, there's never been war, never been colonization in America. There's never been turmoil, right? So they made movies consistently for 100 years. So during times of world wars, right, when people are not, when the French are being bombed, they're not making a lot of big movies for to watch. But you know what they're watching? They're watching American movies, right? That's how they're kind of cheap escape. So imagine the grandparents watching that, pass on to their kids and then their kids. So when you're watching those Hollywood movies, you expect it's not a formula. It's like the structure of the American. It's not the best structure. It's not the right structure. It's just the narrative structure that the entire world are used to. So, and that's what we teach at LMU. It's like, what is the global narrative structure, right? That you do. You can still have your local, authentic kind of voice in it. And then, so if you ever watch any kind of the Oscar-winning films from the best international movies from the Oscars, the winners of those movies, I guarantee you, it follows the kind of the Hollywood structural narrative, right? So one of my heroes is Ang Lee. Ang Lee is a Taiwanese filmmaker. His films have been nominated for Academy Award in terms of the international, his Taiwan movies, from Wedding Banquet, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, by the way, is still the highest grossing foreign language movie in North America, more than Parasite, more than Life is Beautiful. And structurally, that movie hits all the kind of the global structure, right? Plus, the entire world are used to it and won the Oscars, right? Going through. So now talking about, so that's why I laid that down, because when I talk about crazy, and I am not like, oh, by this minute in the movie, this needs to happen. I'm not so much about that, but this part is very specific. So I call it the crazy situation, right? What does this mean to you when you hear crazy, right? So, and this goes into television too, like the first episode, the pilot episode, right? Is that at 17 minutes, I know, it's so specific. Again, it's not a formula that this must happen in 17 minutes, but it just the 100 years of kind of Americana films that became the global structure that people are used to. The audience expect by around 17 minutes of watching a movie, we need to know what the movie's about and why are we going to this character's life at this moment, right? Which I call the crazy situation, because a character's entire life, why at this moment? So crazy. So basically, I feel like they take action that we're afraid to do in real life. Why are we entering this character's life at this very moment? Okay. So next slide, please. I'll show you. Anyone know Squid Game? Was that a hit in India? Is this a hit somewhat? It was for the longest time before K-pop Demon Hunter. This was the highest, most watched series, right? So Squid Game, if for those of you seen it, okay, if you look, so here it is. A desperate man's proposed an opportunity to make a ton of money to play the mysterious game in Squid Game. Okay. Um, Next slide, please. Anyone seen this? Is this popular at all? Ozark, again, a very big one. Okay. An accountant's accused of stealing laundered money from the cartel. Okay. Next one, please. And okay, Breaking Bad, right? Okay. Is a man who has cancer, 2 years to live, and needs to find a way to make money, who's like poor, is like struggling financially. How can I make sure my family's taken care of after I die in 2 years, right? Breaking Bad, a huge hit, right? But do you see how we're entering the life? So if you look at the 17 minutes of Breaking Bad, if you go on Netflix, you go on 17 minutes, it's when a doctor tells him you have cancer, it's terminal, you're going to die in 2 years. That's 17 minutes. I'm sorry, previous slide, just so real quickly. Ozark is when that scene right there with the gun to his face, he goes, where's my $5 million? If you don't give me the $5 million right now, I'm going to kill your family and then you. Okay, right? That's a crazy situation. 17 minutes. I'm sorry, previous slide, just one more slide going back. Squid Game. It's a subway scene. If you go to the pilot, you go to 17 minutes at the subway. It's that guy stopping him, give him the card, right? Here's how, by participating in the game, you come in, you can win the money in order to be with your daughter. Okay. So we need to know what your series and why you're going to this character's life at this moment, right? Cancer, I'm gonna die in 2. That's why we're starting. That's what's motivating this story right away. Okay. I'm sorry, we go to the next slide after the great. Okay, so I feel like up to the 17 minutes. Oh yeah, and this part, Liam Neeson was still taken when she's on the phone, she's underneath the bed at 17 minutes. The father goes, "You're about to be taken. You're about to be kidnapped right now, right?" Oh my God, that's what the movie's about. She's taken at 17 minutes, right? So by then we know what the movie's about, okay? So basically, the way I see it, the first 17 minutes of a movie, we all talk about like, how do we relate with a protagonist? So it's everyday life. It's very relatable. It's real life up until 17 minutes. Then extraordinary situation happens. In real life, I think our fear, we wouldn't go and take on. Like if I was Liam Neeson, I wouldn't know how to get a gun and go after by myself. I say, let me hire the best tracker. Let me get the local police to find my daughter. That's what real life is. But in movie life, he goes and saves the daughter, right? Okay. In real life, Ozark, the guy who's like, oh my God, he'll probably call the police. In real life, no. He goes like, I'm gonna extradite my family. I'll help you get more money by moving my family to Ozark. I'll keep getting you money laundering. I'll set up the whole establishment. I get deeper and deeper in this situation. But most of the time we wouldn't because our fear, right? We're unsure if we could do that. Next slide, please. So comfort, okay? So kind of like I laid down, right? What's the first one? Fear, right? The emotional driver of it, right? Of the whole movie, okay? And then we have the situation, what the movie is about, which is the crazy, right? The crazy situation. And I believe the whole movie, it's about comfort, okay? What do you mean by comfort, okay? So this is the invisible ingredients, not tangible. What is a literal goal of the TV series at the end? What is a goal, right? Ozark, I got to extradite my family from this dangerous place, to save my family. That's the kind of goal of the series, right? Taken, I got to save my daughter and take down the bad guys, right? And then liberate the other people being, trafficked. So we have the kind of movie plot goal. But the emotional goal, we're talking about the fear. I think at the end, it's about comfort, right? What's our comfort? What's our happy? It's very universal. So next slide, please. Gladiator. Anyone seen? Oh, if you've seen, I know. I feel like it's like a one-on-one. It's a big bunch of people in a Zoom room. Gladiator. If you watch Gladiator, the ending scene. Sorry, spoiler. He dies. Our main character dies, but that's a bummer. We don't want people to die without anything happening. You know what he gets to do? He launches this whole thing about being a gladiator and taking down and killing the emperor is because they murdered his wife and 2 children. Do you know what he gets to do after everything? He gets to unite with his family, gets to go home, right? Look, I know a lot of Asian, in terms of India and also Chinese mythology, kind of similar, right? Has a similar kind of mythology kind of about going home, right? It's about going home. And that's Western mythology too. We all want to go home at the end. We go out to our journey. We do everything, but in the end, the comfort is home. Next slide, please. Braveheart. Both won Oscars, by the way. Exact same typical ending. When Braveheart was like, oh, he gets his guts, torn out, gets executed. By the way, he dies. Sorry, another bummer. Do you know what he gets to do? He sees his dead wife in a crowd, and I get to unite with my wife. Is that satisfying? We want to go home. We want to be with the ones we love. Next slide, please. By the way, these are all Oscar winners. I just want you all to win Oscars. That's why I'm giving you the secret sauce. In Titanic, if you've seen the movie, come on, everyone must have seen Titanic, right? At the end, doing the last scene of the movie, right? The old Rose throws the diamond into the ocean. We fall the ocean, we go in. You know what Rose gets to be? He gets to be young, right? Gets to reunite with her, even though she lived a whole life with, someone who's a loving man, right? We would never know who he was, right? She married, lived a full life, was an actress, chased her dream like Leonardo told her to do. But in the end, you know what she gets to do? She gets to go home, right? The love, being united love. And if you look at Leonardo DiCaprio's costume, it's a casual costume. He wasn't wearing a tuxedo trying to fit in. He's being himself, being love, unconditional love. How rare is that? To be honest, right? We have a lot of humanistic, civil, cultural expectations being true love. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's kind of, I'm trying to wrap, I think I'm good with time. So comfort. So for me, the 3 secret ingredients is basically fear, right? The crazy and the comfort, right? Of how we do storytelling. Now, this may seem like, is this a scripting masterclass? No, it's a storytelling masterclass because the script sets the foundation, but then all the creatives, the department heads, from costumers, cinematographer, director, producer, is all, you had to chime in using all the craft of how it looks, how the costume parlays, how the set design, right? The direction of it is to hit those moments, to accentuate that onto the screen, right? Because it's a collaborative effort. So those elements, it's not just about the writing, it's about the storytelling, because all the creative artists are supporting those elements of emotions. You know what I mean, right? So I like to end with this benediction, and this actually keeps me very inspired. So there's a Oscar winner. He's been the president of the Academy as well, I believe. Frank Pearson. He wrote a movie called Dog Day Afternoons. It's like, older kind of American movies, but very well-respected writer. And this is kind of something that keeps me inspired sometimes when I feel like, what's the point? Sometimes storytelling with so many crazy things happening in the world. And I love what he says. He goes, go and make a cinema and TV that express our history and our ideas and that foster respect for civilization in real danger of self-destruction. Tell stories that illuminate our times and our souls. Somehow we need to keep alive in our hearts the vision of community, shared interest, and understanding of our neighbors' needs. The sense of connection this fractionated society is losing. And he did this speech like maybe 20 years ago plus, and still relevant even today, I believe, going through. So that's kind of what I learned from the storytelling journey, at least, and frankly in life, is to don't generalize, right? Be specific and inclusive in your point of view. And that's how a writer's voice sings off the page. And that's how one takes a stance in life. So infuse that with universal human emotions we just talked about, okay? It doesn't matter what language, what culture, and what ethnicity you're writing about, audiences will connect. And international and cultural specific stories with the streamers now eventually do, as they're escalating. There's some contraction in television production in the United States, but it's expanding globally, going through. There's going to be a desire for global structure. The presentation narrative needs to be familiar to the world viewers. And I hope you amplify your unique perspective and tell stories you need to tell, which resonate and are relevant to the world, no matter what the genre you're working on. So I feel like a program, any kind of film program, a good film program, for me, obviously I'm biased with LMU, is that you provide a solid compass, right? And as you sail on your storytelling journey, the sea of the industry, right? And the world social landscape may be rough at times, but I'm certain that you'll build craft and skills at any kind of film schools to navigate through these waters and reach your destinations. So I'll end with this one thing of my mentor. So I went to academia. I've been teaching. I've been professional writer simultaneously as a practitioner and academia. Going through. I'm very current. I have a project with a producer, American Sniper and NIAD, about a World War II biopic that I'm very active on. And what I learned is this: a mentor said to me when I was graduating from film school, and I was feeling a little bit, very nervous. And he said to me, "Things will happen for you, just not in the way expected to." Yeah. So for those of you who maybe need to go to film school, maybe cannot go to America and go to Hollywood, but if you're still persistent in going on your journey and you work hard, whatever pathway you take, I believe things will happen for you. If you need to be a storyteller, not to want to be, you want to be like, I want a mansion, but do I need a mansion? Maybe I do. No, but do I need this? I believe that the people who succeed and who come out of this is that they need to be storytellers, not just want to be, right? But need to be means you need like water and air. That's how it is, because it is a challenging industry at times, but it's also a very exciting industry. And it's a professional industry, right? You get paid to do what you love, and that's the goal. And again, my late mentor Luke Hunter told me once, be a good person and everything will fall into place. And that really captures the essence of what we do at LMU about education person as a whole, is it could be a good person. It doesn't mean like, going to serving, cleaning up the beach or anything. It's not like, or giving money to the homeless. It's not that. It's how you behave as a human being, how you connect with one another, care about one another. I think to be a good person, everything will fall into place. And it's so true. So I really cherish that to heart. And for me, at least the program I run, that is the essence that we do here at LMU. Great. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Vico. This was extremely insightful and extremely exciting. And it was great to see some of my favorites as well on the screen over there. Uh, there's a lot more that we want to speak with you. There are a lot of questions which have come up, around 24 questions. But before we get into the audience questions, I know Arushi wants to talk to the audience as well. But before I let Arushi take over, I want to run our second poll for today, which is going to go live on the screen right now. So those of you who are still in the room, around 20 of you in the room right now, the poll is live on the screen. The question is, if you had a choice, if you were looking to build a career in the film or television industry, which area of the industry would you want to work in? Is it production that you aspire to be in? Are you looking to be a screenwriter? Are you looking to be a cinematographer? Do you want to get into editing or post-production? Or are you looking to be in marketing, distribution of the films? Are you someone who wants to write the broad management strategies? So are you a business person? Or is it something else that inspires you about the film industry? My request would be those of you who are just choosing other as an option. I've kept the chat open. Let us know what other area of the film industry are you interested in, right? It would be great insight for us as well. So in the chat, just let us know which other area of the film industry would you aspire to work in. Those of you who are choosing the other options, production, screenwriting, cinematography, editing, any of those, just select the option. But if you're choosing other as an option, let us know. Okay, so I see someone wants to get into acting. Sure, Basundara, that's always a possibility. There are great actors that have attended such sessions and come into the film industry post that. I'd like to believe so. There are some who are looking to get into direction and acting both. There are graphic designers, film and sound designing as well as coming up. Mary looking to get into acting as well. There are aspiring directors as well. All right, sorry, direction I think is something which we had missed in one of the options. So my apologies for that. But quite a good variety and quite a few aspiring actors as well. Great. With that, I'm going to end the poll and share the results on the screen for everyone to see. I think the most chosen option amongst all of these is, I would believe, it's cinematography. So a lot of aspiring cinematographers, around 1/4 of the audience, followed by, of course, other as an option, which includes acting, graphic designing, all of that, followed by screenwriting, production, marketing, distribution, strategy, all of that. Great. So quite a few aspirants in the film industry. And Arushi, with that, this is a perfect segue to get into your presentation, because the audience can
Yeah.
see the programs that LMU offers and then take the pick the program they want to study at LMU.
And
Yeah,
I could chime in for the actors when we get to the WPTV writing producing for television programs. So I might chime in. I got to talk about
of
the acting.
course.
Man, thanks.
Of course, I will do that. Thank you so much, Waco, for such an engaging session. I know that a lot of us were really writing notes. I know I was. And again, as Sanjay said, it's great to see so many of our favorites on screen and so many of the projects that our alumni have been a part of. I was so excited. I remember when I had joined LMU earlier this year to know that I'm associated with the school wherein the alumni have worked with Modern Family. Come on, that's one of my favorite shows, and I know it is one of the favorite shows of a lot of people over here. So I'm very excited to dive into what we have to offer to all the students who have attended today. And I know that we have something for everyone over here. Oops. Yeah. So a little bit about our campus. I know Sanjay and Waco have already walked you through, but let me tell you, we have three campuses, all in Los Angeles, wherein most of your classes would be at the Playa Vista campus, and a lot of the wonderful pictures that Waco was showing you during his presentation bit. And as he also mentioned that one of his late mentors said that be a good person and everything will fall into place for you. We do follow that to the T as a university, since we are a Jesuit Catholic university, more than 100 years old, right in LA. We have three missions as a Jesuit institution: the encouragement of learning, the education of the whole person, and the service of the faith and the promotion of justice. We make sure that you do work for good. Also, in terms of numbers, we are ranked top 5 by both the Hollywood Reporter and the Wrap in 2025 as a film school, and we are 250 students strong for all of our graduate programs in SFTV. All right, we are gonna go. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of for you to know where exactly we are in the city relative to a lot of other major landmarks, you can see that we are right next to the LAX airport and we look over the beautiful views of the Pacific Ocean. We are situated right at the bluff. And our dean of the business school actually says that when somebody comes on the campus, they don't want to leave. And I can, attest to that. I didn't want to leave when I was on the campus. And I know Sanjay is nodding his head too. Yeah. So it's so beautiful. Plus, with everything that we have to offer, I don't think you would ever want to go anywhere else. But yeah, so we have a campus which is sprawled over 142 acres of land, and we are 45 minutes away from Hollywood, another 45 minutes away from downtown LA. Around our campus, we have 7 major industries. Of course, entertainment is the biggest one out of them. And you can already see that we have Amazon Studios, Sony Entertainment, Culver Studios, all right next door. So I don't think there's a better place for you to be. Okay, diving into the programs that we offer at School of Film and Television, we offer 4 graduate degrees, starting with our MFA in Film and TV production, a Master in Entertainment Leadership and Management, our MFA in Writing and Producing for TV, and our MFA in Writing for the Screen. So, our production grad program, which is the MFA in Film and TV production, offers 5 different specializations. Anybody who put up directing and cinematography, creative producing, and editing would definitely benefit from being a part of this graduate program that we offer on campus. You will receive a lot of hands-on training with experienced faculty on campus. One of them is right here in front of you. And you will have a lot of training in making sure that you are learning the different aspects of filmmaking to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. As Waco said, we provide you the compass to move to the right direction. So in the areas of developing stories and directing the actors and the scenes, the business and the technical matters all are being taught to you. For the entry requirements onto this program, this slide would show you that we have very standard documentation requirements. Your application has to be online. There's a $50 application fee. Your English proficiency exam, which is IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo, whatever you prefer, along with a 1-page resume, 2 letters of recommendation, and of course, your transcripts and the transcript evaluation. Now, During your application process, we need you to be very creative. We need to know who you are as a person and what drives you to be in the film industry, wherever you are, whether you want to be in India, whether you want to be in China, in Africa, or whether you want to be a part of Hollywood. So it starts with your personal statement. We want to know your story, what has shaped you as a person, what are your unique experiences, and who or what is it that influenced you or inspired you to become a professional in the film industry? What makes you want to attend a film program, that too being provided by LMU? What value do you think that LMU can add to your career and to your education in the entertainment industry? This has to be fewer than 1,200 words. Then comes a visual sample, which is a 2 to 3 minute film shot with your cell phone and edited with any digital software that you're comfortable with in response to the following prompt, which will be shown to you when you're also applying online. But the prompt is also right in front of you on the screen. It's called an unexpected gift. Whatever comes to mind, you have to create a 2 to 3 minute film with your cell phone. And you may choose to upload an additional video sample which you may have produced previously. Again, no longer than 3 minutes. You need to think outside of the box for this one. Then come your creative samples, a half to a 1 page outline of a short format film project that you would want to create. This outline should be in a treatment form, not a script format. And we want to know what kind of stories you want to tell as a filmmaker and what genres you want to work in. So we get a better sense of who we are onboarding on the program as a graduate student. And then the second creative sample will be a 1 page, single spaced page describing a truly unforgettable moment that you either experienced or witnessed. And this, again, as we mentioned, has to be not longer than a page. Please do not write anything in a very, very small font size to make sure that you're putting it and as much text as you want. But yeah, make sure that it's legible and being read by our admissions team. Then a video recording, again, as a part of the application process. You have to create a video of 2 minutes telling us who you are and what inspires you. This should not be scripted. You don't have to perform this like an actor. It's you talking about yourself. Then your portfolio list, which is the written record of what you have created so far, all your creative material, which can be, including a lot of other things, but it should not be limited to film or television. Now, moving on to the next program, which is MFA in Writing and Producing for TV. Again, the documentation requirement is pretty standard across all of the programs. Then, again, a little bit of this description for this program would be that students who want to be writer producers and want to run their own shows in the future should be the ones targeting this particular program. I would want Waco to chime in when he wants to talk about the acting.
Yeah, really. We've recently, the last couple of years, we had a lot of extraordinary actors who's coming into this program. And so basically what this is, you have to do a thesis production your last year, which I used to teach the whole year-long thesis. And basically these actors, I know a lot of people are interested in acting. We're really fostering that because what happens is, when you're acting, you're at the mercy of other people, right? Someone to hire you and cast you. In television, at least in America and the Hollywood system, the writer is the top person. And if you look at all the biggest sitcoms in Hollywood, from Seinfeld, the Mindy Kaling show, from all those kind of those series, Issa Rae, they're actors who wrote materials for themselves, and because they're the boss, right? In film, director is the top, but in television, the writer producer is. And we have so many successful actors who come in and did this, and they've gone on to launching they basically crafted their role for them to thrive in, right? Who knows you better than you, right? So then they've had a lot of success in that. So we're really supporting, we have a lot of professional actors coming back to MFA. They've already acted in Hollywood. They want to create roles for themselves. So we have 2 professional actors right now in our program who are basically writing, producing their own material. So that is a place where those who are into acting is a really perfect place for them. Yeah. You come out with you in it. Yeah. Right.
That's wonderful. So yeah, it's definitely true that we have something for everyone over here. For this particular program, again, we need a personal statement very similar to what you would, write to let us know about what drives you. But again, it has to be a creative essay or a short story in response to one of the following prompts, less than 1,000 words, which is what lived experiences fuel your creativity, or what themes are you curious and convicted to explore when you would want to write for the TV show that you would run for yourself. And the third prompt is, in context of other literature or movies that are meaningful to you, how do you see your own writing? The fourth would be, what do you want to say and why now? That's the fourth prompt. Then there's a writing sample of a maximum of 10 pages of either a complete script or an excerpt from one of the following: an original screenplay, a pilot, a podcast, or a play. The admissions committee will not be reading 10 pages. If you send us anything longer than 10 pages, we will only be reading up until the first 10 pages. If there's any other sample that you may have written previously, we do welcome that on the application as well, but the main sample has to be just 10 pages. And then there's an optional additional sample. You can submit a writing sample from a short story, a prose, essay, or an editorial. This has to be 5 pages max. Then comes your 1-paragraph synopsis. You will have to write a brief 1-paragraph synopsis of your dream TV show, an hour or a half hour, that you hope to write and show run someday. And we do hope that you do write this in the program while you are studying with us at LMU. And maybe, again, even make a short proof of concept film for your thesis out of this. Then comes your video recording. Again, very similar to what we talked in the previous program. You have to record right when you are applying, on the spot, no scripts, only talking about yourself and what drives you and who you are. Yeah. The third program, which is an MFA in writing for the screen, again, very standard documents are required for this one too. And this one trains and launches writers who want to write feature-length stories and then create them into movies in the future. We do help the students with creating a portfolio of the work in the future. And this will include your 3 feature-length screenplays, 1 episodic teleplay, and at least 1 original plot for the TV. For the admission requirements, the prompts are the same for prompts that remain the same as the previous writing and producing for the TV program. The writing sample, which is a maximum of 10 pages, is also the same. Do not submit anything that is longer than 10 pages, please. And then comes, again, an optional writing sample, another 5-page that you are allowed to submit, and 1-paragraph synopsis of a feature-length screenplay that you would like to potentially write while you are a part of the program at LMU. And a video recording of another 2 minutes, letting us know who you are and what inspires you to go for a program at LMU and be a part of the entertainment industry in the future. Do not script this. I could not emphasize this more. And this program is actually my favorite program on campus. And this is being offered by our College of Business Administration and the School of Film and Television jointly. This is for the students who come from the business background and want to enter the entertainment industry, handle the business aspect of the entertainment industry, and the creative individuals in the entertainment industry who want to know more about the business and the advanced projects that are handled from, let's say, a marketing or a distribution point of view or production point of view in the industry. In the business aspect of the program, we teach you core marketing, management, accounting, and finance, and other electives. Then in the film and TV aspect of the program, we teach you introduction to the creative industry, producing, business of the entertainment, and other electives. And there's a joint capstone project as a part of the program. For this program too, the requirements again are very, very standard. You have an online application for which you pay $50 during the application. Then your official transcripts, your transcript evaluation, a GRE or a GMAT, since this is being also provided by a College of Business Administration on campus, if your GPA is lower than 3.0 on a scale of 4. 2 letters of recommendation, your IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo scores, 1-page resume, your personal statement letting us know why you want to go for this program and what drives you, and another personal video, which has to be no more than 2 minutes in length, answering any one of the following prompts, which would be the first prompt is that you describe a business problem in the entertainment industry that you intend to solve during your career and explain why it is important to you. What are the outcomes that you intend to achieve, and how will your leadership and management skills contribute to these efforts? This is the first prompt that you can choose to answer. The second prompt is that do you identify more with the creative side of the entertainment industry or the business side? Have you created or curated content in the past? Whether it's in office or on set, how do you see yourself incorporating creativity into your future career path? So these are 2 prompts. You can choose any one of them, whichever you are more comfortable with, whichever resonates with you more, to create a personal video to submit for the application. This has to be uploaded to YouTube, and then you can include the link in your application wherever it is asked for. These are my contact details on screen. While you must remember that we were talking about an application fee that's of $50 during the application. You can also connect with me to get a unique application fee waiver code. And then you can use that so that you don't have to pay anything. This is as a gesture coming from us for being such an amazing audience today, for listening to both Waco and I so patiently. Also, I will be running a virtual application workshop next week. If you want to do a run through of what your application looks like online, I could help you out with that. So you can connect with me, take a screenshot of this, scan the QR code, and I will be all ears tomorrow. Yeah, that's me.
Great. Thank you, Arushi, and thank you, Waco. The presentation, both of your presentations was very insightful and helpful. Unfortunately, there's a situation at our end, and my apologies for that. I know the audience have a lot of questions. I know you want to connect with Waco with your questions and with Arushi as well. But unfortunately, I'm not at the liberty to take questions in today's session. I'm really, really sorry about that. I know a lot of interesting questions have come up, but my sincere apologies that we have to wrap up this session sooner than what I had anticipated. What I'm going to encourage the audience to do is, of course, connect with Arushi. That's one. I've also checked with Waco. Waco, if you're comfortable, I can share your email address with the audience as well.
Yeah, I shared this.
Okay, great. So I'm going to post that in the chat. So Arushi's email address and Waco's email addresses are in the chat. If you have certain questions for Waco, then I would suggest write to him, but copy Arushi in those. But if your questions are around program options, admissions, criteria, eligibility, then I would suggest connecting with Arushi. Waco, I know you have a busy schedule teaching classes, plus all the assignments that you're doing. And of course, the work that you're doing in the film industry. So I don't want you to be bombarded with queries. So my request to our audience would be that if you have generic questions just around admissions, criteria, eligibility, all of that, reach out to Arushi. This could be, of course, for LMU's film school, but also for their School of Management, Engineering, and other schools which the university broadly has. Arushi caters or looks after all of these universities and their programs. So if your interest is to study at Loyola Marymount University, you want to be in Los Angeles and California, then reach out to Arushi with your questions. And if you have specific questions about the film industry, which only Waco can answer, then please feel free to reach out to him. But my request would be don't reach out with requests for an acting gig or for a direction gig. I would say keep it professional and ask
don't
your
send
queries
scripts.
about.
Don't send scripts or anything.
Yeah, okay, that as well. So
Yeah.
again, my apologies once more, Waco. This was extremely insightful. We would love to host you once more in the future. We'll of course work with Arushi and Amar to make that happen. And I want to thank you for taking out the time to do today's interaction. To you as well, Arushi, to Waco as well, and to our audience, once more, my apologies. We can't take your questions today, but we look forward to continuing the engagement with you. If there's anything we can help you with, please do feel free to reach out to us at Seed Global Education.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone for
It's been
joining.
Thank you
a
so
pleasure.
much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
You too.
Thanks.